Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, November 12th, 2019 meeting of the Durham County Board of Commissioners. And of course, we're meeting tonight because yesterday was Veterans Day. And I will share the public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. As a courtesy to others, please turn off cell phones during the meeting. And I'll now ask that we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any adjustments to our agenda this evening? Seeing none, I will move on to the announcements. Come hear about the future of 300 and 500 East Main Street. Well, this is happening right now. This meeting is right across the street at our Admin 2 building. So if you don't want to be here, you can go over there, or if you want to spend a little time here, and then you can head on across the street as well to meet the developers of the 300 and 500 East Main Street projects. And if you're listening from home, there's still time to come and join that meeting. It's a great opportunity to give input and ask questions. What to know about vaping, smoking, and other inhalants? Join us for a public forum to educate attendees about prevention and treatment of health conditions caused by vaping, smoking, and other inhalants. And that will be on Saturday morning, November 16th from 9 to 11:30 a.m. at our Human Services Building, 414 East Main Street. And you can find out more information online. We also encourage people to go over and visit a exhibit that we have over at the Health and Human Services Building that will be there throughout the month. It is our Durham Homicide and Victims of Violent Death Memorial Quilt. Again, at 414 East Main Street. Our building there is open from 8:30 to 5 each day. If you haven't seen it, I really encourage you to go and see the quilt. There are more than 800 patches on it. Every patch has the name of a person who has been killed in Durham due to gun violence since 1996. And it really, you have to see it. It is both beautiful and also very disturbing. And a lot of people know people in our community who are on that quilt. Engage Durham hosts its first community workshop for our new comprehensive plan and the county transit plan. Engage Durham listening and learning workshops. We are to get input from people in our community. There are a number of opportunities. There will be childcare. There will be refreshments at every single one. The first one is on Thursday from 7 to 9 at Hillside High School. Then on Saturday, this coming Saturday, from 10 to 12 at Carrington Middle School. On Sunday, from 3 to 5 at Southern High School. And on Monday, November 18th, from 11 to 1, again across the street at our Admin 2 building. And the last one is on Tuesday, the 19th, from 7 to 9 p.m. at Rogers Her. So So all different days, all different times, all different places around the community to try to be able to accommodate people in our community. Health insurance marketplace open enrollment. You can go to the health insurance marketplace at healthcare.gov to find out about how you can get affordable health insurance, what you qualify for. It could range anywhere from $50 a month to $100 a month for many people. We encourage you to go and look. The deadline is December 15th. They're only giving people 6 weeks, the federal government this year, which we know is not enough time for people. But please, please go. There's also a phone number, 1-800-318-2596. Are there any other announcements this evening?
Madam Chair, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege to make a statement. It has been my honor to serve as a Durham County Commissioner the past 31 years. I want to thank the citizens of Durham County for supporting me in 24 primary and general elections, allowing me to serve 8 two-year terms and 4 four-year terms. It has been a real privilege, and I'm grateful. After much reflection, I've decided not to run again in 2020. When I was elected, my children were ages 4 and 8, the ages of 2 of my 4 grandchildren. Now, after a generation of service, it is time to focus more on my family and special interests. As a founder of the East Durham Children's Initiative, helping all children succeed in life is a passion for me. Much has been accomplished by this board working together for the past 3 decades. I'm proud to say that I've served in leadership for 18 years, 6 as chair of the board and 12 as vice chair. The growth and change in Durham County since 1988 has been dramatic, with the most impressive transformation in downtown. Due to the loss of tobacco and textiles, we had large warehouses and factories that were empty. Accessing government services was the main reason to come downtown. Through the city and county collaborating with the private sector, we have helped to write a new chapter and create a vibrant hub for our community. We also supported the development of the Trayburn Corporate Park, and we're investing in infrastructure and Research Triangle Park to position it for the 21st century. The power of public-private partnerships has been key to our economic success. Even as we focused on growth, I'm proud to say we also focused on preserving environmental quality for future generations. We adopted stringent water supply protection regulations, initiated conservation of environmentally sensitive natural areas, started a farmland protection program, and adopted zoning regulations to protect our streams, floodplains, and wetlands. Education has been a top priority for this board. We were one of the first counties to pass a 1/4-cent sales tax dedicated to creating a strong educational continuum by funding pre-K expansion, K-12 support, and providing funds for scholarships at Durham Technical Community College for any high school graduate in Durham County. I am proud that this board has committed to universal, high-quality pre-kindergarten services. That was a big step. Now, I feel we need to stitch together a strong cradle-to-career continuum of support so more of our children succeed in school and life. Hopefully, with the hiring of an early childhood coordinator, we can make some meaningful progress in future years. Durham County has also been a leader in promoting racial equity. In the early 1990s, this board led the effort to merge the city and county schools in order to address financial inequities and provide equal opportunity for all Durham County children. For over 2 decades, we have commissioned disparity studies at regular intervals to assess evidence of racial and gender discrimination and develop plans to address it through our purchasing and contracting services. During the past few years, the Public Health Department has conducted extensive racial equity training for county officials and staff, along with many of our citizens. With this board authorizing the hiring of a racial equity coordinator this year, the expectation is that racial equity principles will be operationalized in our policies, our programs, and our practices. In closing, public service is in my blood. My dad, a doctor, visited 3 elementary schools every morning to take care of sick children, and my mom, a teacher, served on the library board and town council for many years in my hometown. Campaigning has always been a family affair, with my husband Ken and children helping out in myriad ways during the campaign. Without their strong encouragement and support, I would not have lasted this long. I feel strongly that public service is noble and important work. Even after I leave this board, I hope to continue to contribute to Durham, a community that I love. Thank you.
And she's not going anywhere yet. Still got almost a year.
May we have copies of your speech? It's a
Yes.
great summary
Yes.
of great things that have happened.
Well, actually, I was thinking about all the things that she left out. Because there are just really so many things that efforts that Ellen has led. I'm thinking of like EDCI, for instance, all of your work on transit, but anyway.
It was of the board.
Okay, focusing on the board, okay. But anyway, I just want to say, Ellen, you've heard me say this to you before, that I firmly believe that Durham County would not look the way it is. We wouldn't be where we were at if it was not for your involvement. And, when you talk about people who, go to sleep at night thinking about the county, waking up, I mean, Ellen lives, eats, and breathes thinking about how our children in our community and how to make our community a better place for everybody. So,
And Madam
yes.
Chair, I'd just like to say that, I've served with Ellen as a board member I think longer than anyone else, and the historical knowledge has been invaluable. So that I truly have appreciated working with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Especially because she doesn't forget anything. Okay, well, thank you, Alan. Thank you for your service. So one other announcement, I guess 2 other things. One is I did want to mention on Saturday morning across the street there's going to be a conversation about sexual assault between our district attorney and our police chief. That is from 10 to 12 at an Admin 2 building. And I also wanted to highlight something that Commissioner Carter and I have been involved with, a regional effort that's very exciting with happening across the state with other school board members, municipal elected officials, and Durham Public School, school board officials. So Heidi, if you could talk a little bit about that.
I'm just going to, so yes, there's a campaign afoot to try to arrange a meeting with some elected officials and Lynn Good of Duke Energy Corporation, and we're trying to get signatures on a letter to request that the same thing happen here in North Carolina that's happened elsewhere, basically solar on our schools coupled with storage, battery storage. And so here's the letter. It lays it all out, explains it really well. Subject, finding a mutually beneficial model for rapidly deploying solar plus storage at North Carolina schools. Dear Ms. Good, so far, 2019 has been the globe's second hottest year on record. We've seen our beloved Ocracoke Island submerged. We know that our Earth will continue to warm and generate large-scale destructive weather events every year. As elected officials, we must plan for that unpredictable future. How we produce and consume energy is a primary concern for the long-term viability of our towns and counties. In fact, 15 cities and 7 counties in North Carolina have made commitments to emissions reduction and clean energy targets, but we need your help. One way we can meet our targets is by running our schools on clean energy. The exciting no upfront cost solar plus storage arrangement that Duke Renewables and REC Solar have made with schools elsewhere could be a game changer in Duke's home state. We would like to discuss models that work here to help schools get solar and battery storage systems at no upfront costs that would enable them to immediately begin saving money on energy costs, freeing up valuable resources to be spent in the classroom. Siting such systems at schools would also be of value to the public at large, since many schools serve as emergency shelters during outages. These systems could even have a further benefit to the community if the solar on school rooftops or parking lots, plus battery storage, were designed to serve surrounding neighborhoods as a microgrid, not only when outages occur, but also during normal operations, helping replace planned fossil fuel investments, thus saving all customers money. You recently spoke at the Durham Rotary Club of the need to decentralize the grid. Our schools are highly motivated and well-positioned to partner with you and serve as community clean energy centers in a way that can be mutually beneficial to both Duke and the people of North Carolina. And the technology is clearly available to make this happen. We can work together to address any legislative changes that may be necessary. We request that Rob Caldwell, president of Duke Energy Renewables, and a senior regulated utility official meet in Durham with a small group of local government elected officials and school board members to start this discussion. As many of our jurisdictions are currently setting in place plans for achieving the renewable energy targets we have set, we'd appreciate a reply by mid-December with a goal of meeting in January 2020. We look forward to working in partnership with Duke Energy in this exciting and important effort. And it's signed by a number of elected officials, myself, Diana Hales, Vice Chair, Chatham County Board of Commissioners, Bill Jensen, former APEC Councilman, Mark Markopoulos, Orange County Board of Commissioners, Alan Wilson, Vice Chair, County Board of Commissioners, and we're sending it out to get more signatures. I know Ellen has already signed on, the mayor signed on, Mayor Pro Tem signed on. I'm trying to remember if anybody else, but anyway, this is in the works. The campaign's afoot, and we hope we'll make some progress.
I'm doing it today.
Thank you.
Signed on.
Thank you.
James is about to sign on.
Well, thank you. We're excited about it. It's going to be a great opportunity to partner with Duke Energy, and I just noticed who's sitting with us tonight. So we're excited about it. This has already been happening in other states, and it's going to help our schools as well. So thank you. We have a number of proclamations tonight. We have first appreciation for Grand Family Heads of Household Day, and do we have Glenda Kerr with us from the Fragile Families Network? And this is a great recognition to have tonight, along with our foster care proclamation.
My name is Dr. Glenda Clare, and I am a person that actually has served as the head of a grand family. A grand family is a family that is created, I see you, Javetta, is created when a grandparent or other family member raises the child of a relative that is unable or unwilling to parent. There are more than 89,000 children in the state of North Carolina that are raised by relatives. What most people don't know is that for every 29 children raised by a relative, only one of those children is in foster care, which means that 28 children have no resources. Many of these children live with grandparents. That's the number that's generally counted. I have to admit, I was a cousin. I wasn't counted. Aunts, uncles, siblings are not counted. But I need to give you, I guess, the case of a Durham County resident that I'm doing some work with. I do a number of things. I know Javetta because we have the Durham Family Engagement Committee, which is part of the Child Welfare Family Advisory Council. This is a statewide effort that's going on, and that's my full-time job. However, I am a licensed therapist, and because of the experiences that I had raising my relative's child, I knew that I needed to reach back and help other people because, you know, we're dealing with some children that have been traumatized. That's why they're not living with their relatives. Substance abuse is one of the main reasons that these children are living with relatives, but also incarceration, domestic violence, you name it in terms of, I don't know if y'all know about the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, but they run the gamut. And so these children are impacted by this, and there are no resources. There are no resources. Last week, I was in Greensboro at the Children's Home Society. There was a statewide meeting, and that meeting was, Carmelita, is that you? Oh, you're not Carmelita? You look like Carmelita. Carmelita would say so. There were representatives from Say So, there were representatives from adoption agencies, there were representatives from child welfare. There were only 2 of us in the room, and I think there were about 40 people that actually had lived experience raising a relative's child. A couple of years ago, because I am passionate about this, I completed an application to join a national advisory group. We advocate in behalf of relatives that are raising a relative's child. It's called Grand Voices. So right now you're hearing the whimper of my voice. It will be rising. This is just the start. But there are no support groups. There's, I think, about 5 of them in the state of North Carolina, and that's really not a good thing. There's a need to support this effort. So if we can start by recognizing families that are taking that time, making those sacrifices to raise their relatives' children, that would be helpful. I think I'm just going to ask, if you are sitting here in this room and you know of a grandparent or a sibling or an aunt, uncle, or cousin that has raised their relative's child, could you raise your hand? Oh, a lot of people. So we're going to start by having this day of appreciation on the Friday before Thanksgiving. And so if you could just say thank you. I mean, we're starting simple. If you can just say thank you to those relatives, that's a great start. But I remember whose hands went up. So I may be reaching out to you in the future. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Care, and this is really important, and I would like to read the proclamation in honor of the work that you and others are doing. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Appreciation for Grand Family Heads of Household Day 2019. Whereas nearly 8 million American children live in households with a grandparent, and more than 3 million of these children are cared for primarily by that grandparent. And whereas in these families, often referred to as kin care, kinship care, or grandfamilies, parents are usually absent, and biological relatives, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, or great-grandparents have the primary responsibility for the well-being and rearing of children in the family. And whereas 60% of relative caregivers are in the workforce, and more than 35% of the 2.7 million grandparents who report they are responsible for their grandchildren's basic needs have provided primary care for more than 5 years, and whereas approximately 30% of all children in the foster care system live with relative caregivers. For every child in the foster care system, 25 are raised by grandparents or other relatives outside of the system. And whereas those grandfamilies that keep children out of foster care save U.S. taxpayers more than $6.5 billion each year, and whereas more than 230,000 North Carolina children under the age of 18 live in homes headed by a grandparent or other relative, and whereas the state of North Carolina commends grand family heads of household, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, or great-grandchildren for the commitment to family and personal sacrifice for the benefit of children in communities throughout the state, citizens are encouraged to observe this day with appropriate programs and ceremonies. Now, therefore, I, Wendy Jacobs, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim November 22nd, 2019, as Appreciation for Grand Family Heads of Household Day in Durham County, and commend its observance to all citizens this, the 12th day of November 2019. Wendy Jacobs, Chair, Durham Board of County Commissioners. So thank you again, and if there's any way that we can help support, and maybe grow this, working with our DSF staff, Durham Center for Senior Life, or just some of the groups that come to mind, this is certainly something that we want to help and support, so, and shine a light on. Thank you. And Commissioner Hill, you have a comment?
Sure, quick comment. In my other life, I worked a few years as a child support agent, and most of my cases were difficult, but when I saw a case that had 2 non-custodial parents, I knew it was going to be especially difficult. And as you said, 90% of those cases came about because of substance abuse. Probably the other 10% was mental health issues. And I thank you for the work that you've done for these children. And I just wanted to thank you again for the effort that siblings, aunts, uncles, and grands do for these kids, because if not, they would go into the foster system. So it's a blessing that they have you looking out for them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wendy.
Commissioner Howerton, sorry.
Glenda, I just want to say, I've known Glenda for a lot of years, and seeing her be that calm over there about these children is so unusual, because that is not the Glenda that I know. So I just appreciate your commitment. And I remember years ago, I traveled with you. I was sitting here trying to remember, where did we go And it was about grandparents and children adopting their children, but I can't remember where we went. But I'm so proud of you that you continued this commitment and it's still going. So thank you for continuing that commitment and your love for children.
Thank you. Next, we want to recognize a donation from Duke Energy to the City County Emergency Management Division for emergency evacuation program of $10,000. And we have Indira Everett with us and Jim Groves, so please come on up. We just had a report that was released today, very timely, about looking back at lessons learned. And so we really appreciate, Indira, all the support that we get from Duke Energy in so many ways. So I will just turn this over to you.
Thank you so much. Before I begin, I want to congratulate Commissioner Reckhow on your retirement. I know when I first came to Durham, we worked together with the EDCI. You were very instrumental in helping me understand that organization, and we've been a partner with them ever since. So thank you so much for your service to Durham. And also on the second matter that was about Duke Energy, I appreciate that conversation. I was with Lynn Good on Friday, and we'll let her know tomorrow that the letter's coming. I will mention, though, she did speak to the Durham Rotary. That was our Stephen DeMay, our state president. She spoke at where the Rotary meets, but it was not to the Rotary, so I just want to make sure I make that point. Good evening. I'm Indira Everett. I want to thank again Chairwoman Jacobs, county commissioners, our county manager, and our county attorney for this great opportunity. Each year, the Duke Energy Foundation focuses giving on K-12 education, workforce development, and nature. And each year, the foundation adds an additional new focus area based on the current needs of the state. This year, that focus was on storm resiliency in response to the devastating hurricanes we experienced in recent years. Duke Energy just awarded $1.1 million in storm resiliency grants throughout all of North Carolina to increase response capabilities, preparation, and planning for future weather events. So tonight, I'm super excited to make a check presentation award to Durham County. The city and county emergency management offices submitted a recent grant request to enhance the Durham County Disaster Evacuation Sheltering Program. Funding from this grant would assist with logistics needed for sheltering training and exercises. So tonight, I'm pleased to announce, as you heard, a $10,000 grant, and happy to recognize Leslie O'Connor in her absence, and our emergency director, Jim Groves, who's joining me tonight. So on behalf of Duke Energy, I'm here to say thank you for partnering with us on this outstanding cause. I'm going to ask Jim to come up. You've received the actual check, but if you don't mind, I'd like to do a thank you with our ceremonial check. Thank you so much.
Tammy, thank you for getting a picture. Tammy fulfills many roles.
So again, we thank emergency management for what they do. I know I work with them very closely throughout the storms, the unfortunate situations that we have to manage through, and we appreciate all that they do and the long hours that they give and the time that they serve. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And Jim, I didn't know if you had any comments to add?
We just want to thank Duke Energy and Dara. Thank you so much for this. You know, the support that they provide the communities, especially the ones down east that were really impacted the past couple of years. We are so fortunate that it's not been nearly as bad as what's happened, but we also are very appreciative of receiving this money, and it will go a long way to making sure that our shelter fleet training and education are spot on. So should the weather decide to hand us something we're not really excited about, we'll be ready for it.
Thank you. And thank you again, Indira, and for Duke Energy's continuing support for so many things in our community. We have a proclamation for National Adoption Awareness Month, and Commissioner Howard, Tim will share that. And we have Jovetta Whitfield, Sharon Flood, and of course Ben Rose, and Janice Williams are all here from DSS. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is my honor to read this proclamation. National Adoption Awareness Month 2019. Whereas the County of Durham recognizes the importance of giving children in foster care permanent, safe, and loving families through adoption. And whereas every child deserves the opportunity to grow up in a loving, stable home, and adoption is one way to build a family. And whereas caring adults can make all the difference in the lives of young people, sibling groups, children with special needs, and teenagers. And whereas more than 321 children in Durham County, North Carolina, are in foster care, and of that total number, 24 children in Durham County, North Carolina, are legally free for adoption and waiting for permanent families. And whereas since January 2014, Durham County has successfully recruited families for children waiting, resulting in a total of 166 finalized adoptions, including 30 sibling groups and 16 teenagers. And whereas this effort, along with similar celebrations in all 50 states around the country, will offer children the chance to live with stable and loving families and encourage other dedicated individuals to make a powerful difference in the lives of the child through adoption. Therefore, Wendy Jacobs, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim November 2019 as National Adoption Awareness Month in Durham County, and I commend this observance to our citizens and urge all citizens to join in raising awareness on behalf of the 24 children in Durham County who are waiting for a loving family. I further encourage counties, businesses, schools, faith-based organizations, and families to answer the call and honor the special needs of Durham County's children in hope of securing a permanent, loving family for every child, regardless of race, age, gender, health, emotional, or behavioral condition, and past distress. This, the 12th day of November 2019. The Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for being here, and we would love to hear you talk about this issue and how people can find out how they can find out about some of the children, 25, is that right now, who are available for adoption and need a good home in our community, so how people can find out more about that.
We would like for people to come to the orientation and preparation classes so that they can learn more about what it's like to work in partnership with us as we care for the children to our custody. And they can find out more information by calling the hotline at 919-560-8255. 8092. And they will talk to them about the next orientation class. And then if they're interested in that 30-hour course, how to also join that. If they do that, I think all their questions will be answered about what can they do. We are looking for families who can accept the children, who don't mind partnering with the children, going with them to any mental health services, any physical therapy, any medical fragile training that they may have to undergo. So it's a lot of work. Those of you who are parents, you know it's the hardest job you'll ever have. So nothing meant, no offense meant to anybody else, but it's the hardest job you'll ever have, all of that responsibility. And we could not do what we do without the citizens of Durham. So we thank them so much, and we know more will come because that's how we're able to achieve permanence for the numbers of children that we do. And we also could not do it without you, county commissioners, being supportive of our efforts and answering our call when we say we need more. Thank you.
Jovetta, anyone else want
I
to share?
don't have
any
anything else to
Okay.
add. I wanted to allow Janice the opportunity to speak since this will be her last time coming before us. She will be retiring next year. So I wanted to just give her the platform since she has been working with us for 10 plus years, 14 years as the adoption supervisor, working hard to achieve permanency for children who are needing a forever home, and especially teenagers. And we have done a wonderful job in getting our older kids permanency because they need love and support as well.
Wow, well, Janice, well, you've done such a great job, and you're such a champion and advocate for this work. So we are so grateful to you, and we're really going to miss you in this role.
Thank you. I love this job. I will miss it.
And Ann, I didn't know if you had anything. Ben?
Janice didn't tell you that I denied her retirement request. She has done a tremendous job, and this is, as a product of adoption myself, I really am appreciative of the commissioners for recognizing Adoption Awareness Month. This is an annual event, and we're in the business of finding permanent, safe homes for children, and adoption is one tool that we use. And of course, it was nice to hear tonight too about relative and kinship care. That's another tool that we obviously use when we can do that. But there are times when that's not available, and adoption is a wonderful process that we have. And when to hear those numbers that we've been able to do that many over the last 5 years is incredible. And we just appreciate the support of the commissioners and of our DSS board and all that we do to find permanence for our kids that need that. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, yes, Lowell?
Madam Chair, I'd be remiss if I didn't comment on those young ladies there. And I look at them and I think they're a talented trio. Very committed, hardworking women. Sharon Flood didn't get a chance to speak, but when I look at them, they make you proud. They really do. They work so hard for these kids who are very vulnerable in some very difficult circumstances, and they do it well. I take my hat off to them every time I see them. And so I thank you, Janice. We're going to miss you tremendously, but thanks for all you've done.
Thank you. So much. I'm going to miss you. So tonight, we also have a resolution on Durham supporting becoming a Medicaid Healthy Opportunities community. And I think, Commissioner Reckow, you're going to share that. Maybe you could talk or give a little context to that.
Well, our health department has been cutting edge in recognizing that it's social determinants of health that are so important, the underlying environment that a person lives in, particularly our children. So this is a very important resolution. Resolution to support Durham becoming a Medicaid Healthy Opportunities community and the development of a social determinants of health proposal to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Whereas social determinants of health are the conditions in which people are born, grow, live, work, and age that affect a wide range of health, functioning, and quality of life outcomes and risks. And whereas social determinants of health are shaped by the distribution of money, power, and resources throughout local neighborhoods, communities, counties, regions, and the state. And whereas health equity is the assurance of the conditions for optimal health for all people. And whereas achieving health equity requires valuing all individual and populations equally, recognizing and rectifying historical injustices, and providing resources according to need. And whereas the state of North Carolina's Medicaid transformation includes the Healthy Opportunities Pilot that identify 4 reimbursable social determinants of health: housing, food, transportation, and interpersonal violence, with up to $650 million of potential funding that can improve health equity. And whereas many Durham human service organizations providing services within each of the 4 social determinant of health categories comprise a fragile ecosystem due to high demand and lack of abundant resources. And whereas the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Healthy Opportunities Pilot can enhance the capacity of Durham's health and human services organizations serving its most vulnerable populations, as well as improve the infrastructure and ecosystem of each of the 4 major social determinant of health categories. And whereas Duke University and Duke's Medicaid Clinically Integrated Network, along with the Durham County Manager's Office and Durham County Human Service agencies, formed a county-wide advisory committee to guide the development of the response to the RFP. And whereas Durham County Advisory Committee has aligned with 5 additional counties, Wake, Granville, Vance, Warren, and Franklin, to submit a response to this RFP. And whereas the alignment of urban and rural counties enhances the resilience of each county and the region, now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby urge the entire Durham County community to be supportive of strategies that strengthen individual, family, community, and human service organizations' efforts to alleviate the effects of health inequities by increasing the capacity of our organizations to better serve individuals. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution are shared broadly throughout the community, and be it also resolved that the Durham Board of County Commissioners endorses the development of a county-wide advisory committee, including these other counties, comprised of representatives from health, food, housing, transportation, interpersonal violence providers, along with respective leadership from the county manager's office and other city and county agencies. This, the 12th day of November 2019, and signed by all of the county commissioners.
Thank you. So we are passing this resolution in support of Durham County being involved in this incredible opportunity to be one of the designated areas to participate in this pilot, which would help address some of the issues that you just spoke about earlier, and be able to, have social determinants of health be something that there are resources for by healthcare providers, writing prescriptions to help people with food or with their rent or things like that. So we're excited about this opportunity. Okay, and I want to recognize Joanne Pierce. If you would please stand up. Joanne is going to be one of our new general managers. She's been announced by the county manager. And what's her starting date? September 16th. Joanne has been one of our deputy health directors, so we're really excited to have you with us more than you have been. So congratulations. Okay, we also have I think I skipped one of them.
It's not on the print.
Here it is. It's the resolution that James is going to read, supporting the fiscal 2019-2020 North Carolina State budget impasse.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Durham Board of County Commissioners resolution for the support of resolving the 2019-2020 fiscal year North Carolina State budget impasse. Whereas 115C-1, a general and uniform system of free public schools shall be provided throughout the state, wherein equal opportunity shall be provided for all students in accordance with the provisions of Article 9 of the Constitution of North Carolina. And whereas 115C-47, it shall be the duty of local boards of education to provide students with the opportunity to receive a sound basic education and to make all public decisions with that objective in mind, including employment decisions, budget development, and other administrative actions within their respective local school administrative units and as directed by law. And whereas local boards of county commissions will allocate local taxpayer money to recover the state's increasing cost of growing student populations, retirement, and staff benefits. And whereas local education agencies, LEAs, have hired grades K through 3 teachers and assistants to comply with the recent class size legislation independent of state funds and are unable to effectively plan due to the budget impasse, leading to the reduction of fund balances. And whereas LEAs have just learned that funding, which was generated for the fiscal year 2018-2019 for new school psychiatrists in the wake of school shootings, will now not be continued for fiscal year 19 and 20, forcing LEAs to further allocate fund balances towards this initiative. And whereas because of the budget impasse, LEAs facing staffing challenges that can create irreversible damage to the public school system when positions are left unfilled or are filled by substitutes for an extended period of time. And whereas North Carolina classrooms operate within school funding 0.9% below pre-recession levels when adjusted for enrollment growth and inflation, resulting in continuous task of county commissioners to increase property taxes. And whereas the expansion of Medicaid in North Carolina would provide 464,000 people affordable health care under the current federal plan, where 90% of the cost is paid by the federal government and 10% by hospitals and healthcare plans. And whereas the educators, administrators, parents, and students across the state of North Carolina have learned that the reason for the budget impasse and possibly going a full fiscal year without a budget is Medicaid expansion, and having educated ourselves as to the effects of Medicaid expansion in North Carolina, particularly the impact on students, families, and whereas we have learned about the specific benefits of Medicaid expansion in our rural counties, particularly in their ability to keep hospitals open and employ medical professionals. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the Durham County Board of County Commissioners requests that the North Carolina General Assembly end the current budget impasse by submitting a budget which includes Medicaid expansion. And now, whereas, be it resolved further that the Durham County Board of County Commissioners requests that the North Carolina Senate end the current budget impasse by submitting a budget that includes a 5% increase for all public school employees, including retirees. Approved and adopted this day, the 12th of November, 2019. Wendy Jacobs, Chair. James Hill, Vice Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to note that there are 40,000 people in Durham County that would have medical care if we had Medicaid expansion. And so again, when we look at the challenges that people face in the community and all the work that we do to try to provide services to people, we struggle because of the fact that people do not have access to mental health, substance misuse services, and just basic health care. And of course, our schools are suffering without the budget. And then, Mr. Manager, if you want to comment on the article, no. He sent us an article today about some of the concerns too related to the budget impasse with our state budget and the implications financially for our state. So I would ask, Monica, that you send this resolution to the school board, the governor, and also the Durham delegation. And also just the previous resolution should also go to representatives from Duke Health that brought that to us as well. Thank you. I want to recognize we have going to move up item on our agenda related to the library. It's our business item because we have a number of folks here from the Library Foundation. If you would please come forward, and we want to recognize all of you. Please come up. Yeah, please do. Oh, don't be shy, or at least stand up so we can recognize you. All the Library Foundation members that are here, please come on up. Okay, stand up at least. Thank you so much for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know you said the Library Foundation, but...
It's the Friends of the Library. Is that the...
Library Foundation.
Okay.
But I know
Yes.
we're twins, so we're kind of a package deal.
Okay.
Here with her. But I'm here for two reasons tonight. One, to publicly thank each of you as the commissioners, the county manager, for your ongoing support of Durham Library. We are so excited that our living room has become much larger here in Durham with our library. At nearly 100,000 square feet, that is made possible by our taxpayers, it's from the bond passing, it's from all of your support, and it's also from the generous support of the Library Foundation. And the Library Foundation is an organization that you know has been in existence for many years. Ann Craver, or Annie as I get to call her, is one of the founding members of the Library Foundation. And they have worked closely with us to make sure that we are able to provide all of the things that are needed to the community in this library. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Annie so she can say her spiel.
Thank you, and I'm sorry we would have more people here, but we had a board meeting from 3:30 to 5:30, and I felt that it was really asking a lot. So I'm Ann Craver. I'm president of the Durham Library Foundation, and I'm here to present the second installment of contributions totaling $1.2 million to toward enhancements for the main library. It is the Foundation's mission to provide a margin of excellence for the library system. It is our privilege and our pleasure to be able to execute upon it with regard to this amazing new facility. The immediate past president, Lou Myers, was here in June to present a commitment of $800,000. That figure was the result of many, many years of fundraising for this magnificent library and our stewardship of assets that have been given over time. I think everyone in this room has been prayerfully hoping for this thing to open, and now, hallelujah, we are just about there. But the $400,000 that we're giving tonight, we're especially proud of because we've raised this in the past year. We're proud of our executive director, Karen Wells, and our staff, Jana Bradley, as well as our hardworking board. But this is really not about the foundation. It's about the palpable animus of support for the library system in this community. It is really amazing. So the foundation is a catalyst and a conduit for this money, but the gift is from Durham for Durham. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne, for those really eloquent words. And we're just all so grateful. $1.2 million, it's just unbelievable and amazing for Durham's living room, for our community. So thank you. Yes, Commissioner Recco.
I just want to say Anne has been incredible for so long, over more than a decade of service to the library, and before that in other capacities. But please convey to all of the foundation members that you have knocked it out of the park and far exceeded our expectations. We really appreciate it.
We can't wait to see the furniture along with the library.
Commissioner
Yes.
Recco, that's 2 decades.
2 decades. I knew it was more than one. 2 decades.
Wow. That completes our ceremony items. I was remiss in not asking that we approve the minutes this evening. We overlooked the minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Recco, seconded by Commissioner Howerton. And I just want to get the date of those.
Just the regular.
October 14th. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the minutes are unanimously approved. We have a number of consent items, 19-0488 to 19-0556. Are there any items that need to be pulled from the agenda? Oh, I guess we need to pull, what is it? Oh, and we want to add the library item. Okay, so adding also 19-0529. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Recco, seconded by Commissioner Howerton. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda is unanimously approved. I do want to highlight, there's so many good things in this agenda, and I don't know if Jane is still here. We have a conservation easement on another minority-owned farm in Durham that could be considered a century farm if they let you consider that with one big parcel. The Dine program, we got another full-time person, which helps, goes into the Durham Public Schools and gives cooking lessons and nutrition lessons. And then the FIT program, formerly Incarcerated Transition Program, that helps our reentering residents get connected to health care that they need when they come back into our community. So just want to highlight a few of the great things there. We now have a motion to go into closed session. The
Did we
board,
carry that motion?
We didn't
vote
have,
on-
we didn't make a
vote.
motion.
we did vote on it.
The
We did
agenda.
vote on?
Yeah, yes.
Did we move for the agenda?
I know it was motion and second, I just couldn't remember if the vote was.
I think we did.
Okay.
Did we vote? Yeah, we did. We voted. Yeah, we did.
For the consent agenda.
Yeah, we did vote. Okay. The board is requested to adjourn into closed session for the following: to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the public body, including agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by the public body in negotiations pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A4, and to consult with an attorney employed or retained in the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3.
Move that we go into closed session for those reasons stated.
Moved by Commissioner Carter, seconded by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we're unanimously adjourned into closed session. We have adjourned from closed session and given direction to staff. Before we adjourn, I forgot to give everyone's attention to this folder that Drew gave us. We skipped this on our agenda today, but staff did put a lot of time and effort pulling together data related to our MOU with DPS. So I wanted everyone to know what this folder was right here. And I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Carter, seconded by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're unanimously adjourned.